Screencast-O-Matic is something that is new for me. I am growing, always looking for ways to improve. And my colleague and friend, Melissa Case, who works with me at Old Kentucky Home Middle School, has introduced me to this new and what I think is pretty cool thing. The free version, however, only allows for a 15-minute recording. So it became necessary for me to break my Capstone presentation recording into two parts, and I'll thus provide two links. So I am going to continue where it did cut me off, and I am going to hide my face again so that you can see the entire screen, where this really, this topic got so big, and I just kept whittling down to try to narrow focus. But what I learned from my data in terms of servicing my school is that there are basically, for the purposes of creating safety and belonging, which I think go together to create an environment of trust, that there are areas in our school that parents do not feel their children are safe, and that students do not feel safe, and that the communication between home and school is weak. Parents do not know what's going on, that the kids feel that teachers do not enforce the rules fairly and consistency, and they feel that their principal, or their former principal in this case, because this assessment was done at the end of last year, that their former principal does not enforce the rules at all, and that teachers are really, they're feeling the morale is very low, and that they're not wanting to leave the profession, but they are wanting to leave this school, and that there is quite a bit of name calling, even though students and parents didn't report it as much as I thought they would, that there is name calling and bullying by exclusion going on at this school. So when I think about those 5 really big rocks, in my opinion, it takes me to our action steps for our school. There are 3 anchor initiatives, and anchor initiative number 1 is to improve safety for the internal and external stakeholders. So changing the arrival structure was a big part of that. The arrival structure is currently that when students arrive and go to the gym, which we have about 275 students that go to the gym, that they sit in a grade level area. 6th grade is always in the middle. So they are the underclassmen, and they are surrounded by the upperclassmen, the 7th and 8th graders. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of it is just about logistics of where hallways are in our school. And a lot of it is about them being enclosed and enveloped by those upperclassmen so that those upperclassmen can support them. When students enter the gym, they have what we call file-in seating. They just go to the next seat, the next seat, the next seat, and the next seat. There is no sitting anywhere they want. There is no what I call clicking up with just small groups of friends. We are trying to promote an environment of inclusiveness or inclusion where we are building a community where students widen their circle of friends and acquaintances. In addition to students that enter the gym, there are students that do enter the cafeteria. About 50 students right now are eating breakfast in the morning at school. And again, those tables have signage for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And students, again, file in seating. So when students arrive, they sit in the next seat, the next seat, the next seat until a table is full. Students can, however, after they finish breakfast in the cafeteria, can go to the media center. They cannot go to the gym. And students that start in the gym cannot then change their place where they want to go. However, students that go to the cafeteria can go to the media center if they would like, and the media center will hold about 30 students in the morning. And currently, we have 20 to 25 students that are partaking of the services in the media center. Let's see here. The next part of Anchor Initiative number 1 is that when we move into classes and we move out of those arrival areas, our hallway structure is such that teachers dismiss students. We do not have bells in our school. We all have a schedule that's hanging on the wall, and teachers set timers and they release students at given times. Students then go directly to their next class. This is not a bathroom break time. This is go directly to where you line up next. And we do have those areas we have signage in those areas. They're well identified. So then students gather outside and will be welcomed in by their teacher, who is also outside in the hallway. One of the things that was causing a great deal of trouble at class transition time is teachers were unable to be inside the room and outside the room at the same time. So we keep all of the children and the teachers outside the room in designated areas. And then when kids have gathered in those areas, teachers welcome them in all at one time, shaking their hand and greeting them at the threshold. The restroom structure, since we do not allow restroom breaks at that class transition time, is that teachers take all their students to the restroom during their second period class, fourth period class, and sixth period class. So students get a group restroom break 3 times a day, so about once every 2 hours. The other part of our structure was our lunchtime structure. Our cafeteria holds it would probably hold about 180 students, but it is not wise to have 180 students in the cafeteria at one time. We have set up the cafeteria such that students sit with their fourth period class and those tables are labeled. And our lunchtime is actually heterogeneous. We do not have a 6th period lunch and a 7th period lunch and an 8th period lunch, 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade, because we want to be heterogeneous. We want to promote inclusiveness. We don't want to have them only identifying with their grade level. So we do also have every day a different class is welcome to sit on the stage where we play music and where we have some games available, checkers and Rubik's cubes, things that are short games, Uno cards. And this is not a reward. It is not a carrot or a stick. Every class does get the opportunity to sit on the stage, and we just do that in a rotation. They get to sit on the stage about once every week and a half, just because of the number of groups that we have in the cafeteria. The times for arrival and dismissal are staggered so that we do not have 140 students landing in the cafeteria at one time and then sitting or standing for long periods of time. The teacher times are staggered and they're about 2 or 3 minutes apart. Our dismissal structure is very much the same as our cafeteria lunchtime structure. The tables also have bus numbers on them, and at dismissal time, we do have bus numbers on the tables, and students sit at those tables that are designated. Students that are car riders go to a particular room and they sit down in a desk and wait for their car rider number to be called. And then students who are staying after school. This was a big issue in years past with students roaming the hallways and teachers having to do a lot of reactive mode supervision. So the reason that we have students congregate in pickup area and in the cafeteria is because we need to give teachers who run clubs and who run sports and who man other things, we need to give them such as ESS, we need to give them 15 to 20 minutes to be able to get a snack, have a drink, go to the bathroom. So we want those halls clear. We have our after-school clubs and sports teams congregate in the media center, and then they do not leave the media center until their coach or their club sponsor comes and picks them up and takes them to their area where they are going to meet. So it's just added structure and added supervision in very designated and intentional ways. Another part of our action step for arrival time, lunchtime, and dismissal structures is that we promote the file-in seating and we do it heterogeneous to create inclusive environments where we can achieve a sense of belonging, because we want students to widen their circles of friends and acquaintances. We don't want them to have small factions that are at odds with one another. Our anchor initiative number 2 was to improve the communication with our external stakeholders and thus increase our trust. We have a Facebook page that we put information and celebrations on. We also have events that we hold in our school. We've had 3 events, and it's now the 5th week of school. So we had a Wildcat launch, and that's the postcard that you see to your right there. And that was our 6th grade orientation, basically. We had a whole school open house that was very successful as well. And recently we just had fall student organization rush, to which we invited community members that are helping to host clubs and sports events. Students then could visit tables and find out about and sign up for various organizations. Before Rush, we actually had intentional prep for that, wherein students were delivered a unified lesson, really, that we wrote for teachers, and that lesson was delivered through social studies classes because we felt like that this was a way to promote citizenship. So it seemed ideal for that to go through social studies classes. And then their social studies teachers, after the lesson was delivered, brought them to the gym for the fall rush. So everything is just very organized, very intentional, very structured. As another part of Anchor Initiative number 2 to improve communication and thus improve a sense of trust within the first 4 weeks of school, and you can see the spreadsheet there behind the telephone, we very intentionally chose students to call and make a positive phone call home. Another thing that we do weekly at our faculty meetings is we write postcards to students to celebrate their leadership and their determination and their loyalty. Those are a part of our core values. And we also send a birthday card to every student on his or her birthday. As another part of our Anchor Initiative number 2 to improve communication, when we do have to discipline students for a level 1 infraction, we have that student do a reflection on what we call a win-win form, because we're always trying to promote a win-win environment, and students taking ownership and responsibility for their actions is a part of that. Then this is a duplicate form. The student takes it home to get a parent signature so that parents know that students are serving a win-win lab. Some schools might call that a lunch detention. We call it win-win lab because students are taking accountability and reflecting. As another part of Anchor Initiative number 2 to improve communication, we also needed to improve our communication with our internal stakeholders. On the left, you see an internal calendar, and you'll see that several of those items have lines under them, and those mean that there are links. So when you take a link, you'll find the schedule or the information that's more specific behind it. So, for example, every single day, students can go to the in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension list, where they list their links to their Google Classrooms, or they describe the assignment that they are providing. And it's just a way for us to all stay on the same page. You'll see at the bottom in the footer that there are also several links to various things that are going on in our school. So this is the way that we keep in communication with one another throughout the day and throughout the week. And this really, really cuts down on emails. We don't want teachers to have to check emails during the day. We do not send out emails during the day. This calendar is updated in real time, and they have this displayed. They have this as an open tab on their computers all day, every day. What you see on the right is an even bigger mechanism of communication, and this is our internal blog. We have our student data dashboard on this blog with map schedules, map assessments, you name it. Both of these items are for internal stakeholders only and are shared directly and only with